immerse yourself into the world of Creepy Man. He's waiting for you.
My name is Emily, and when I was 17, I had already seen my fair share of life's darker side. Bouncing from one foster home to another, I thought I knew what fear was. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened that one night in Oakland. It's a night that still haunts me, even all these years later. You see, I wasn't just afraid. I was terrified in a way I'd never been before. And it all started with something as simple as a long white gown at the top of a creaky staircase. One night, I went to the bathroom that was right in front of the stairs on the first floor. As I turned to leave, something caught my eye, a shadow on the wall. At first I thought it was mine, but as I moved, the shadow didn't. It stood still, unnervingly human in shape, yet slightly distorted, with arms too long and a head tilted at an unnatural angle. I blinked, and it was gone. Shaking it off as my imagination, I climbed the stairs. As I was about to walk back upstairs, I saw the bottom of a lady's long, white gown at the top of the stairs. I thought it was the foster mom or sister, and asked if they wanted me to leave the light on in the bathroom for them. No response. The gown just turned and went down the hallway. I thought it must have been my foster sister sleepwalking, because she was still little, like 10 or 11, and did that sometimes. Before heading to bed, I passed by a small storage room we rarely used. The door was ajar, and a faint tapping noise came from inside. I hesitated, but pushed the door open slightly. The room was pitch black, except for a faint sliver of moonlight. As I reached to turn on the light, the tapping stopped abruptly, replaced by the sound of breathing. Slow, deliberate breaths, too close for comfort. My heart racing, I quickly shut the door and bolted to my room. I went upstairs and peeked in the parents' room. They were both snoring. As I turned to leave their room, I caught a glimpse of something in the mirror. It was the reflection of the woman in the white gown, standing behind me. I spun around, heart pounding, but there was nothing there. Just an empty, silent room. As I hurried back to my room, the hallway seemed longer than usual, stretching impossibly far. The light at the end flickered, and I felt a presence behind me, heavy and oppressive. I turned to look, and for a split second I saw her. Her hollow eyes staring right at me from the shadows. She was gone in an instant, but the air felt colder, suffocating. I hurried back to our room, where my sister was dead asleep in her bed, wearing a Raiders t-shirt. As I closed our door, I noticed it wouldn't latch. I leaned against the door, but as I did, I heard faint whispers, soft, incoherent voices coming from within the walls. They seemed to grow louder, like a crowd closing in on me. Covering my ears didn't help. The whispers were inside my head now, each word soaked in menace. Suddenly the whispers stopped, replaced by a loud dragging sound. It was as if something heavy was being pulled across the attic floor directly above me. I tried again to latch the door, but something was pushing against it from the other side. Suddenly, the door flew open, and I felt a cold breeze rush past me, extinguishing the hallway light. As I tried to calm myself, I glanced at the door again. Deep claw marks appeared, scratching into the wood as if an invisible force was carving them out. I watched in horror as the marks spelled out leave. I froze in terror as I heard faint, echoing footsteps coming from the stairs. slowly descending toward our room. The footsteps stopped, but my attention was drawn to a picture on the wall, a framed photo of the family that lived here before us. It was turning on its own, the glass fogging up. Words began to appear, as if written by an unseen finger. "You're not safe." Before I could react, the faint sound of a lullaby began to play. It was an old tune, scratchy and distorted, as though it came from a broken music box. My heart thudded painfully as I noticed the sound wasn't coming from outside, but from my foster sister's closet. Against every instinct, I approached the closet and slowly opened the door. Inside, hanging from the ceiling, was a dusty, ancient cradle gently rocking back and forth. There was nothing in it, but the music stopped abruptly the moment I touched it. I quickly shut the door and leaned against it, holding my breath, praying whatever it was would go away. But then the sound of soft humming filled the room, coming from the corner where my sister slept. I slowly turned my head and saw a shadowy figure standing by my sister's bed, gently stroking her hair. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. The figure turned its head slowly to face me, revealing hollow black eyes. I blinked, and the figure was gone. Shaking, I turned on the light and went to the small mirror on the wall. My breath caught as words began to appear, written as if by an invisible hand. "She belongs to me." The letters dripped as though they were written in blood. I wiped the mirror frantically, but the words wouldn't disappear. In that moment, my sister suddenly stirred, and the figure vanished, leaving behind only the sound of her soft breathing. I rushed to her side and shook her awake, desperate to make sure she was okay. She opened her eyes, groggy and confused. I told her everything was fine, but I could still feel the presence lingering in the room, watching us. We spent the rest of the night huddled together in bed, listening to the sounds of the house creaking. But nothing else happened. The next morning, I found a single white feather lying at the top of the stairs, where I had first seen the gown. As I stared at it, a sudden chill ran through me. I picked it up, and for a brief second, I felt as if something brushed against my arm, something cold and clammy. Later that day, I checked my arm where I had felt something brush against me. There was a faint mark, a small hand-shaped bruise. It was cold to the touch, and no amount of scrubbing made it go away. I never spoke about that night again, but I could never shake the feeling that whatever it was still there, waiting. To this day, every time I hear the floor creak or see a white gown, I feel that same cold dread creeping up my spine. So that's my story, something that I've carried with me for years, a memory that refuses to fade. Even now, I sometimes wonder what really happened that night. Was it just my imagination? Or did I truly encounter something from beyond? I guess I'll never know for sure. But now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced something strange? Something that sent chills down your spine and left you questioning what's real? Maybe you've heard stories from friends or family that still haunt you. If you have a paranormal experience or an eerie tale that you'd like to share, send it in. Your story could be featured in one of our upcoming videos. And before you go, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell icon so you never miss out on more terrifying stories like this one. Your support means the world to us. Without you, our viewers and subscribers, we wouldn't be able to keep bringing these stories to life. So thank you for being part of this journey. It's a great help, and we couldn't do it without you. Stay safe out there. And remember, Sometimes the scariest things aren't in your imagination, they're real.